Good morning, traders. David Kahn here on Wednesday, the 11th of June, 2025. It's now 4 minutes to 8 in the morning. Looking at the EUR USD on the 1 minute time frame, following the Scalping 55 indicators and strategy. Anybody watching here on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel to find out when I'm on. Well, what can we see? Well, we are looking at the EUR USD. So what we'll do, as we always do straight away, is see if we can determine the bigger picture. So we will take the indicators off and look at the daily chart. See the daily candles. And we'll get rid of this. That was an old buy or sell zone. So I'll get rid of that. So what we can see here, we are still languishing near the top on the daily time frame of the euro is having a good old time at the moment. The dollar's not doing so well, and the euro is slowly but surely getting higher and higher again, reaching the top. But we've got an area of consolidation here the last 3 days between there and there. This is a big indecision candle the previous day. But we'll go down to the 4-hourly, and it's drawn up by this area here, where all this is higher consolidatory on the 4-hourly time frame. Looks like the sellers are in charge now, but we can't see any imbalances here at the moment. Let's put it on the line chart and see if we can get any significant points of interest. One or two of now that definitely is 1, 2 there. That's a point of interest, and I'm going to move that one down just a smidge because we got 1, 2 points there, and we got another point there. Look, so this is a point of interest also. One point being there, and the other point being there where it's been resistance, and yet it's been support there. So, but that's nearest to the price, so that's more significant than that one, obviously. So we'll leave that at that juncture there. And then we'll go down to the hourly, and again we can see that point of interest there. We've got no really other points of interest at the moment. So we will go on to the candles. We have a little bit of imbalance down here. So I think we'll draw that up. On the hourly, I don't go no lower than the hourly really with the imbalance. So we'll draw that up just on this candle here. A little bit of imbalance there. No selling power that side, no selling power that side, so that makes it imbalance. There's no other imbalances nearby to consider. So we'll go down to the 5 minute and we'll mark up our zones, which are there. That's the bottom of the sell zone on the 5 minute. And this is the buy zone. which we were already part of. So we'll put it down onto the minute, put our indicators back on, and that's what it looks like. So we know that's a sell zone and there's a buy zone. Price has been into the buy zone. So we are looking for the next buy, which would take us this is what it would look like. A recommended minimum of 2.2 pips away, which is there, and stop loss will be there. Taking our 2% into the sell zone. So we was in that sell there, we'd recognize that that was a buy zone. So this would be a point of interest to maybe think about putting your, if you was in that sell there, you'd be, once price got there, you'd be thinking about putting your stop loss to your entry at least for a risk-free trade. Hopefully you get enough volume to get you 2%, or you may even consider getting out completely. It's up to yourself. But this is the scenario for, so we are in the scenario now where we can take the next buy. We are going to open our MT4. Here's the MT4 on the make sure your risk to reward is in purple on your trade assistant and your lot calc is in purple, and you've got that all important 1% risk. We never risk more than 1%. And I like to make sure that's in purple in case I need to close all trades. So now I am indeed going to be writing 22 in there because that equates to 2.2 pips, and put my lines on, but I've locked that, so make sure that's unlocked. And now I'm 2.2 pips away, just in case we get a buy alert. Incidentally, there is no red flag news to make the market move. Not fairly quiet day officially. That means to say that there is maybe something may happen in Ukraine or Donald Trump or whatever, but nothing official is happening, and that's the only thing we can really go by. So that's what we got. So officially, there's not a lot going on as far as red flag news is concerned. But now we are perhaps waiting for a buy alert. We've got a wee bit of imbalance up here, which is a good thing. Will price come to redress that? Or will it go to this purple line here and then bounce off it? Or maybe up there even, we don't know. Nice to see so many of you on today. And we're on YouTube. Anybody watching on YouTube, hi. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future lives. And hit that bell so you get a notification of when I'm on. So I guess we'll wait now and see what happens. If we was to take that sell there, because we would have been in the sell zone, that would have red trend there. So you put your stop loss there, and yeah, you would have got your 2% coming down to there. This one for a buy wouldn't have been so tasty because you would have got in there somewhere. And as you can see, you wouldn't have got your 2%. That one would have certainly lost. And of course, this sell didn't get into the sell zone. So you've got a 65% chance of winning as opposed to a 75% if you wait for price to get into the zones. But this one is undetermined yet, obviously, because we know this is the buy zone here. So what's price going to do though? You could satisfy yourself with the fact that price is underneath the 462 EMA. This is a Fibonacci number. So we have a sell bias going on at the moment anyway. So that's sell, even though it's 65%, but then again, you would have got in there presumably because you may have missed that. Well, yeah, you would have missed that down there. So you would have had a lot of pips from stop loss to entry. Actual fact, why don't I just do it on the I'll do it on Trader View. You would have got in there, but you wouldn't have got into the trade until down there, and that's a 4 pip move, which is not bad, but that forces your 2 to 1 deep into buy zone. But is price ultimately coming to tap into this imbalance down here? That's what you would be thinking, but also at the same time, you've got that buy zone there, which has to be respected. So it'd be a bit of a riskier trade because, like I said, you hadn't quite been into the sell zone. So it's a 65% win rate trade. According to our stats. But you got good news and bad news because the bad news is you're in the buy zone, but the good news is you're underneath the purple line. So there's a sell bias going on, and you've got this imbalance that price needs to tap into eventually. So it's good and bad. So I'm not in that trade, so I'll take that out so as not to confuse. I'm looking for the next buy, which would be if we do get a buy, we're already in the buy zone. Assuming these all turn green and I get a buy alert, that's the scenario for the buy at the minute. But yeah, pricing is indeed, I think, coming down to tap into this imbalance that we drew up on the hourly candle earlier on. So you missed out, ignored the zones and took that sell. You've got a 65% chance of winning. So the odds are still in your favor. But we know we're in the buy zone now, so but there's a reason for price to get down here to tap into this imbalance because price loves balance and this is imbalance. So it could tap into here and then shoot off back again, or it could even go deeper, maybe to this line here, in which case it would have wiped out all that imbalance. It'll do that anyway, but we'd be guessing if we knew what time of day it would be doing that. If we knew that, we're golden, but we don't. All we're doing is following the footprints of what they're actually doing, trading what we see, not what we think. I'm way too late to the buy for that because that was 5 to 8 while I was setting it all up for the live. And like I said, I wasn't even in the sell zone anyway. Here was your sell alert to be on. Not here. But it looks like it's tapping into that imbalance now. Oh, forgot to record. Yeah, all these are recorded, as well as we see live on YouTube. I keep forgetting now because we're live on YouTube. I keep forgetting to record it as well, but got to get in the habit of doing that. So yeah, just for the recording, this is David Kahn, 13 minutes past 8. It is in the morning here in the UK. We're looking at the EUR USD on the 1 minute time frame, following the Academy 55 indicators and the strategy. I've already marked up a sell zone and a buy zone. Did I say it was Wednesday, the 11th of June? So this is the scenario I'm waiting for, is the next buy alert and maybe price coming up to get us this. As you notice, it fell shy of that. It still might do that, but maybe at a later date. Maybe later on today, even. But it will be done. And sometimes they use red flag news to disguise the fact that they're actually doing exactly that, redressing the balance in the market. Price loves balance, needs to stay balanced as much as possible. This little round thing say. Dollar lightly changed ahead of European trading. All right. So by that, I take it maybe a little bit more strength in the dollar. Lightened though, so could mean not very much. Bit cryptic, isn't it? Not very cryptic what you can read from that. So I tend not to try to read too much into it. So uh, um, we'll open up the chat if anybody's got any questions about what they've seen today so far, or on my our Academy 55 members who are watching this live with their live link, sharing the Zoom room with me, or indeed anybody else on YouTube who's watching, they can write in the appropriate space on YouTube. And I will get to see that question. And if you have any questions, maybe I can answer. So this is where we are. I think I'll show you what I mean by the zones. These are some screenshots from last night. So you can see that I was on the US 100, also known as the NAS 100. So you wait for price to go into a sell zone. This is what it looks like on the 5 minute. So you know to take the next sell. So I'll just get rid of that a minute. And then now, so you know to take the next sell. And this is what it looks like on the minute. So you put your indicators on. Sure enough, the price went into the zone. Take the next sell. And a nice 2-to-1. This was in yesterday evening, UK time. So that's what I mean by waiting for price to go into the zones. And now we're waiting for the next buy alert. And this is where we would be looking. This is the scenario of a trade. And it's coming close to action now. Didn't quite tap into this imbalance. Like I said, it could do that effectively later on. But it does need to do it. So we'll go back to our MT4. And once again, we will wait. We've got to wait for the parabolic SAR to go underneath, which it will do, may do any time now if this keeps increasing. Parabolic SAR will come down there. And we want to wait for all these to go green. And we want the wave to go green, and that's the wave. Where the wave goes from red to green, that is where the stop loss will go. Obviously, the idea is to keep it as the gap between stop loss and entry as small as possible, but it's got to be a minimum of 2.2 pips. And these might not go green until this is about 4 or 5 pips away. We're governed by that. It's got to be a green volume ribbon, a green trend, and a green wave. And once all those things are in place, then we've got a trade. Not until then. I have been caught out in the past, I must admit, because I've anticipated the trend line going green, and ultimately it didn't go green and price came back down. So effectively, technically, that wasn't a trade, but that doesn't happen very often. It happens, you've got to, if you get a bit of volume on a certain candle, you want to be at the head of that volume, and you've got to anticipate that going green, perhaps. And sometimes I get caught out and it doesn't go green, it stays red, and indeed price will come back down again. And it's happened once or twice, but not so many times to really worry about. Because at the end of the day, you can have the best setup in the world and you'll lose. But by losing, you only lose 1%. The thing is not to make such a big deal of it because it's only 1% and it's not a big deal. It really isn't. Now we've got the volume ribbon here. It's starting to turn green. So that's the first part of the puzzle done. Well, the second part, because the parallel stars have gone underneath as well. Now we're waiting for that to go green and also the red wave to go green, and the price will be up here. Like I say, stop loss will be there where price is now in anticipation of the red wave turning green. We're in the buy zone, so we are waiting for the next buy. Oops, wow, bit of volume there. Well, effectively, that's 2.2 pips, that candle there. We haven't got the all-important buy alert yet, as you noticed, but we got imbalances up here. Buyers tried to have a go. The sellers said, hang on. Right, the wave has just turned green. We haven't got that all-important buy alert yet. So if price goes here, I will lock my stop loss in just underneath there. I think I might do that now. Maybe a bit premature. Indeed. But we still haven't got that all-important buy alert. The buyers are trying to get there, but the sellers are saying, no, I don't know so much. But I've got my stop loss locked in now. I guess price will have to be up here, really. We'll see. Of course, we haven't got the buy alert yet, and that's all important, really. Come on, buy alert, where are you? Can't activate without the buy alert. But then again, I'm only two 2.2 pips away at the moment. I think the buy alert will probably kick in anytime soon. Oh, there's the buy alert. Right, I'm going to get into the trade. What am I doing? What's happened there? I thought I was in the trade. Oh no, I can do it again then. Thought I was in the trade. Don't quite understand, but that's okay. Got a second chance anyway. I don't quite understand what happened there, but I'm not going to get flustered. I'm going to wait for it to go up again, if it does. Lock my stop loss in, as you can see. Yeah, I'm going to wait for a price to get a little bit higher. The trend line is still red, incidentally, but that could go green at any time now. So that's what I mean about the anticipation. Right, I'm in. Oh, all of a sudden I've got two. So I'm in that one, so I'll close that one. Yeah, I don't know what quite happened there. But no problem, because I closed that and I was in a slight profit anyway, so that's good. I don't really have the time, and the trend line's gone green now. I don't really have the time to get flustered with all that. You want to be in a nice, calm state. And like I say, I'm accepting a 1% loss if that is what's going to happen. No problem at all. Because we are on a sell bias after all. I'll mark this up on TradingView actually. So I got in here. My Yeah, that's right there. Which takes my 2% up to right. I'm in the sell zone. If we get that high. But I'll be worried about that area there as well, because there's a support and resistance line there also. But like I say, we are in it to win it. Face a 1% loss or a 2% gain. Got balances here. Let's just take the indicators off a minute and go on the 5-minute. There's the imbalances there. So you would think price would want to go out here and redress these imbalances on this 5-minute candle. And hopefully we've got imbalance on these candles up here. But like I said, the timing, that's the thing. Go on the 15-minute. Right. On the 15-minute, these balances up here are being redressed. So maybe that's not such a big deal after all. Right. Hang on. Am I out? Yeah, I've been taken out. So there we go. Got a big bit of volume there. Took me out of the trade. So I've got a 1% loss. And is price wanting to come down to tap into this balance? And we are on a, once again, oh, sorry, put it on the minute. There we go. That's the where we were. Just got taken out. So as you can see, this is the buy zone here. Didn't work out for us. Just got took out by a few pips. Not even a few pips, actually, a few hundredths of a pip. But out is out. But we are on below the purple line, so there is a sell bias going on. So we were effectively retrace trading. Bit of a shame that. But like I say, a 1% loss is not a big deal at all. And with everything that's going on, this overall sideways movement, it's been sideways here. Look, and the volume crept in just as Europe was opening at 7 o'clock-ish. Volume got a bit bigger, but effectively, even though the volume's bigger, we're still generally on a sideways sort of move, but going down or anything. But we've got buy zones here, so it's conflict of interest here, really. And we tried to make a move here, and it took us out for a 1% loss, which is fine. No big deal whatsoever. So I'll mark that up in my journal. I encourage everybody to keep a journal. And being an Academy 55 member, you have a my journal, and you can see all the results I've had since February 2024. But this is my journal that everybody can see. All the results are recorded also. We've had a couple, 2 or 3 break evens. That last break even went on to win 2%, but hey ho. So I'm going to put this down. As you can see, I've got 8% already. I've only got a target of 10% to reach for the month, but we've had a little loss now, so it's now 7%, obviously. So I'll put that in there. EUR USD. The time was 8 to 9 here in the UK. It was on Wednesday, so I'll drag that down. Wednesday. It was a buy, and unfortunately it lost. So I lost 1%. Which goes red. So that means I'm now 7%. My monthly target is 10%. Like I say, it's no big deal. It's only 11th of June now, so I've got lots and lots of time. So I would want to look for the best probabilities I've got. So there is the screenshot that I put in there. They're all screenshotted, like yesterday's. Let's choose that one. And there's a screenshot of a sell trade that I took. Like I said, they're all screenshotted and they are all videoed for you to watch in the back office of Academy 55. So we'll take that out. And all the Academy 55 members, they are encouraged to keep their own journal, and they can get my journal there and delete all the information on it, or make a copy and delete all the information on their copy and make it their own and do their own journal and then see their own progress. So that's it for today. I may come back later on this afternoon and trade the US 100 after 2:30 if the conditions are okay. But as you can see, I have plenty of time. I don't really need to do that. It's only the 11th of June. I'm 7% towards my target of 10%. So feeling nice and relaxed, really confident about the future. So we'll leave it there for today. Let's just quickly check. There's nobody's trying to write anything. No questions. That's fine. And with that being said, then we'll see you guys tomorrow. So thanks very much for being here and speak to you soon. Bye for now.